Welcome back to episode 3 of Rewiring Your Old Jeep. So in the earlier videos, we made our plans, ran our wires, tested our circuits. So now we're down to the final stage of doing all of our final soldering, adding the ends, and making our final connections. So sit back and enjoy. Wires, wires, wires. This universal kit is made for just about any car, and you had a large car, there's plenty of wire to go around. So at this stage, since we've tested everything, now it's a matter of just sorting the wires and putting them basically where they need to go, and then starting to cut them to length. To kind of dress things up a little bit, I'm using some wire looms that I picked up that they're cloth and covered with a sort of like a tar substance, so that kind of gives it a nice vintage look. The horn, I didn't show any video of the restoration of that. I actually, it's an old piece that I found in the junkyard, and did a little bit of sandblasting on it and repainted it, and I think it came out looking pretty good. Felt like I was soldering all these joints for days. There was a lot of connectors to put together, and in the kit they come with connectors that you would have to crush, and I really wasn't into that look. So I soldered each of the ends and then covered it with the heat shrink tube. I thought it'd be nice to use the original junction block that was mounted to the fender, and considering that I'm going to have to undo all this wiring later, as I plan to completely disassemble the Jeep later on to repaint it, it just made sense to have things broken down like this into sections that would easily be able to unbolt or unplug. I'm sure there's kits out there that you could probably buy that are a bit more plug and play, that already have all these connectors together and simply just have to run the wires and make your connections. But this kit is more of a budget type of a kit. It's universal, so you can modify it to make it fit whatever vehicle you're trying to put together. And that might not be for everybody, but I really didn't think it was that difficult. It just takes some patience and a clear plan of attack to be successful with it. Well, that nearly completes everything under the hood. Got everything pretty well cleaned up. So all of our lights are now put together. On to the next item, the starter wire. And as you can see, this starter wire is in pretty bad shape, and something I've been really wanting to replace. I had some other battery cable wire that I had bought for another project that had been laying around, and just seemed appropriate to use that to replace this line. So here you can see I already had a terminal end on the one end of it, and so I wanted to trim it to length. The connector I picked up at Harbor Freight, it's actually for welding cables, but I thought it would fit in this case. Now, it was pretty tight trying to get it into that tube, and I tried using a little electrical tape to hold the strands together to get it in, but that really wasn't working out very well. So in the end, I used a fender bolt and used that to kind of stretch the terminal out a little bit, and that allowed the cable to fit inside. And then finally, just using my crimping tool, which is a little small for doing this size terminal, but it got the job done. Close up of the old cable with the electrical tape. Into the trash that goes. And our new Made in the USA line. Time to get it installed. I was fortunate a few months ago that I was at the junkyard and I found a Jeep that actually had the parts I needed to rebuild the horn, because none of that was there when I bought this particular Jeep. So I wound up running a new wire up through the column, and then I was going to use the parts that I got from the junkyard Jeep to make this repair. Even got the horn butt. So I used the original connector from the junkyard Jeep and grafted it to the new line, and just needed to chase it back down through the steering column. And then to finish, just installing the button. Took a lot of effort to make that work, so I think it's time to make a small modification. So here was my solution. I took out the brass plate, and then I used a small punch just to put a little dimple in the end of this, and I figured that's going to make a little bit better contact. We'll see how it works. With the turn signal wiring, made all the connections, wrapped it in heat tube, and so now that is ready to be rolled back up in under the dash. But before doing that, I got another little side project that I want to do with this old glove box. And here it is. I'm going to put a small power outlet inside of this glove box. So we start with a hole saw to make a hole. And then get frustrated that it's a cheap hole saw and doesn't work very well. So a little tightening up with the hole saw and using the air drill, I finally make the hole. After a little bit of finishing work, time to install the glove box. Well, with all the wiring now tucked away, it's time for a little test drive. Testing the right turn signal. Testing the left turn signal. Turn on the running lights. And test the brake lights on the way out the ramp. Final wrap up on this series of videos on rewiring your old Jeep, but thought I'd go ahead and show you a couple other things here and just discuss everything that we did. Starting out with the Jeep here, we installed the easy wire harness, which is hidden up underneath the dash here. I still have a couple little odds and ends to finish up, and all that wiring that's bundled up on the other side, I still have to cut those off at the back of the fuse box for the wires that I don't need. And a lot of this is kind of just temporary at this point because I intend to take this Jeep completely apart to do all the paint work, and then everything will be installed the way it should be. But we have everything working. I've had this out on the road a few times, so I'm pretty happy with it. But signal stat is working well. The only thing I found with driving out on the road is it's very easy to forget to turn it off because it is not self-canceling. So I'm training myself that as soon as I make the turn before I stop with the wheel, that I'm trying to catch the arm to turn it off. I still don't have a new sending unit, so this wire is just laying here, but that is for the fuel sending unit. Underside of the Jeep, you can see up there is the dimmer switch. This here is the tail light harness. I just put it in the old plastic harness protector. And then I ran it down the inside of the frame rail, as you can see. Well, it's kind of just outside the frame rail. I wanted to keep it up, that way it wouldn't get full of mud and the like when it goes out on the road. And then here's the other end of the tail light harness. You can see, again, I have it all protected with this for now. This isn't really visible, so I wasn't worried about trying to put that into a nice old-looking style cloth harness. But again, this is all just kind of roughed for now. it'll get finished up properly. And actually I have electrical tape on this because when I blow the body apart to do the paint, this is going to have to be separated so I can remove the lights, so it's just temporary like that. Let's take a last look under the hood now that everything is finished. Not real happy with how this part came out. I'll still have to play with that just a little bit more. And this wire is just sitting loose for right now. This is for the horn, so that's just the way I have it running down. You can see going into the front of the steering box, so that'll get cleaned up eventually. But again, everything on this has got to be blown apart to do paint, so I had to kind of keep it so that I could take it apart. But here you can see I really like this look of this loom. It's cloth with like a tar over top of it. I got this at Hershey Swap Meet last year. Same with this. Just to make the wires look a little bit better. I'm not real happy with this. I could have done a little bit better job on it. I should have made all the covers there black. But I ran out of black, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll have different colors to show different sizes. But yeah, it is what it is. Over here with the starter. One of the things I didn't point out is this is the main hot wire to go to the fuse box. It's coming off of the positive side at the solenoid, and this is a fusible link. This is included in the kit, so you have to make sure you do put that on. So that's what that would look like. And then my good old 64 Impala regulator, which is doing a good job. This thing's charging up very nice. I'm pretty happy with it. That's everything under the hood. One last look inside the cab. Pretty clean. And in the glove box, so have that so I can run my phone, charge the phone, or what I need in here, because I'm having some issues with the speedometer yet. I might just get a suction cup, throw my phone up here, and then I'll have that for my temporary speedometer if necessary. So that concludes with this video series on rewiring your old Jeep. Hope you picked up a couple things, learned a few things, something that can be useful. If so, I appreciate it if you'd hit the like button, share the videos series with any friends that you think that might benefit from it, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. I certainly do appreciate those that have subscribed. It encourages me to continue to keep making more videos and sharing the work that I'm doing here in the garage. So again, thanks for watching.